The internet is officially on fire, and at the center of the blaze, Blake Lively, the Hollywood star once known for her glamorous image-perfect red carpets and curated Instagram posts, is now the face of something far more explosive, illegal scandal so tangled, so far-reaching that it now involves Google. Yes, Google has been subpoenaed, and the implications are massive. This isn't just about Blake's personal feud with actor-director Justin Baldoni anymore. This has become a full-blown digital subpoena war. Content creators, some of the very people who simply commented on public information, shared timelines, or analyzed legal documents, are now allegedly being targeted through subpoenas sent to Google. Creators on YouTube, Twitter, now X, and even those with Gmail accounts have reported disturbing notices. Their private data, IP logs, and even search activity may now be part of Blake's legal arsenal. But here's the kicker: many of these creators weren't even involved in the core lawsuit. Some only posted reaction videos. Others dissected press conferences or court documents already made public. And yet their entire digital footprint could be on the line, and Blake's legal team, they're doubling down. According to internal chatter, they believe this information could expose a larger campaign against her, but critics say this looks more like intimidation than justice. So the question we're asking today is simple but urgent: is Blake Lively weaponizing big tech to silence her critics, or is this a desperate move to save what's left of her reputation? The answers are starting to unravel, creator by creator, subpoena by subpoena. It started quietly. A whisper on Reddit, a screenshot on X, a creator's panicked DM, "Did you get this too?" By the time the fourth and fifth creators came forward, the pattern was undeniable. Subpoenas were being issued not directly to them but to Google. And it wasn't just for Gmail. It included Google Docs, Google Drive, YouTube accounts, AdSense payouts, even location history linked to Android devices. That's when the panic turned into strategy, and creators knew they needed to speak out. The court case in question stems from Blake Lively's ongoing legal clash with Justin Baldoni, the Wayfarer Studios executive who filed defamation claims after a leaked incident at a private film festival exploded online. While that legal drama has captured headlines for months, the new twist involves third-party creators, many of whom had nothing to do with the case personally but have large platforms discussing celebrity legal news. What's most startling isn't just the fact that subpoenas were issued, it's how broad they are. According to digital rights lawyer Margot King, who spoke on a live stream with creator at Thelegolans, this isn't a narrowly tailored subpoena requesting a specific IP address linked to one comment. These subpoenas are seeking full account metadata, possibly reaching into a person's full online identity. Some creators initially assumed it was a scam, but that changed when the Google Transparency Center began flagging legal requests. Several creators posted proof of receiving notices that their account data was subject to a subpoena under U.S. legal code triggered by a civil dispute in California, even though their names weren't in the original filing. Their usernames, posts, and timestamps were. The names that began surfacing were a mix of big and small. A 50K subscriber commentary channel on YouTube, a meme page with 200K followers on Instagram, a Twitter X account known for archiving court filings, one anonymous user known only as @Whistle Dropbox, famous for threading together court footage, was among those flagged by Google. But the most high-profile creator to speak out was podcast host and former entertainment reporter Maya Jensen, known online as @HostileNarrative. Maya's reporting often leaned skeptical of Blake Lively's legal maneuvers, and she famously coined the phrase tinsel tactics to describe what she called Blake's Hollywood-style legal drama PR. Maya revealed she was contacted by Google regarding a subpoena tied to her Gmail address. "I wasn't even served. I was emailed that my account metadata had been requested and I had 7 days to challenge it," she said in a live stream. But how am I supposed to fight a subpoena I didn't see coming? According to several digital law experts, this is perfectly legal but deeply troubling. In civil cases, third-party subpoenas can be issued to tech platforms without the user's prior knowledge. The only obligation is to notify the account owner, often after the data has already been provided or is queued for release. "This is not about copyright or defamation anymore," said First Amendment attorney Glenn Weaver. "This is an escalation that could redefine the line between speech and surveillance." Blake Lively's legal team has declined to comment on the record, but court filings reviewed by legal bloggers confirm the existence of subpoenas issued to Google and Meta, Facebook's parent company. The filings argue that content creators may have had knowledge of doctored videos, organized smear campaigns, or coordinated post timing to manipulate public opinion. It's a bold claim, one that essentially implies that creators knowingly or not became digital co-conspirators in an alleged attempt to defame or discredit Blake Lively. Naturally, this sparked massive outrage. Creators began publishing their redacted notices. Others went fully transparent and uploaded their entire Google Subpoena emails. One creator known as @DOCU Drama TV, who makes satirical sketches of courtroom events, even created a video reenactment titled Blake's Army Subpoenas My Google Account, which has now gone viral with over 1.4 million views. The community reaction has been swift and divided. Some support Blake's legal strategy, believing creators spread misinformation or used edited content irresponsibly, but the overwhelming majority are seeing this as an attack on independent commentary. Some worry it sets a precedent that any celebrity can subpoena digital history from platforms even if you're just talking about them. In one particularly emotional live stream, legal drama commentator at trial by internet broke down crying. "I never doxed anyone, I never spread lies. I just read the filings. Now I'm worried that Blake Lively's team has access to where I logged in, from who I emailed, what I searched before I went live." And here's where things get darker. Multiple creators report that following these Google notices, their AdSense accounts were temporarily frozen. One popular YouTuber even said their video was demonetized within 24 hours of posting about the subpoena. While there's no official proof these two events are connected, the timing has made creators incredibly suspicious. Meanwhile, public sentiment is shifting. Hashtags like #Blake Subpoenas, Google #Creator Crackdown, and #Free the Files have begun trending. Even neutral celebrity accounts, normally silent on legal matters, are asking whether Blake Lively has gone too far. Some even compare the situation to Amber Heard's subpoena strategy during the Depp trial, noting that the fallout was ultimately worse for her than for the creators she targeted. The timing of all this also matters. Blake is weeks away from her next deposition deadline. Legal insiders say her team is scrambling to shift focus away from what's expected to be a difficult testimony under oath. These Google subpoenas could be part of a last-minute evidence scramble or a distraction campaign. But one thing is clear: this isn't going away. In fact, Google has quietly updated its transparency report, listing new legal demands from a celebrity-linked civil case in California timed exactly when Blake Lively's legal team submitted its latest filing. And so the question remains, what are they looking for, and what happens if Google actually hands it all over? As news of the Google subpoenas exploded across the internet, creators didn't stay silent. What began as quiet confusion quickly turned into a fierce, organized response. One by one, the voices that Blake Lively's legal team may have hoped to silence started getting louder and smarter. From legal live streams to coordinated FOIA requests, the creator community began pushing back hard, and the story took a new turn. It all started with a legal coalition. A group of mid to large creators on YouTube, TikTok, and X formed a private chat group that quickly evolved into something bigger: the Digital Commentary Defense Network, DCDN. They pooled their resources, shared redacted versions of their subpoena notifications, and consulted with First Amendment and digital privacy lawyers. Within 48 hours, they were working with two major civil rights organizations, including the Electronic Frontier Foundation (EFF), to understand their rights and prepare potential motions to quash the subpoenas. The outrage wasn't limited to niche communities either. High-profile legal commentators like Emily D. Baker, Nate the Lawyer, and Legal Bites addressed the issue in real time on live streams viewed by tens of thousands. The consensus among them: these subpoenas were overly broad, underexplained, and likely a form of legal overreach. This isn't about justice anymore. This is legal optics and intimidation, said Emily D. Baker in a 90-minute stream titled Blake Lively v. the Internet Subpoena Abuse. One of the more disturbing revelations came from a smaller research-based channel known as @LaWarchive Daily, which disclosed that not only was their Google account subpoenaed, but the legal documents requested access to file timestamps, edit histories, and device locations. This suggested that Blake's legal team was attempting to trace the origin of certain court leaks or commentary timelines, as if creators were in direct communication with legal insiders. But creators were quick to point out the absurdity. We're not insiders, we're not journalists on payroll. We're digital analysts with YouTube channels and access to Pacer, said at Justice Breakdown in a video that now has over 800,000 views. We don't manufacture drama, we analyze it, and that's not illegal. The larger concern among experts is how easily this tactic could be copied by other celebrities or public figures. If a creator posts public court documents, then gets subpoenaed for metadata just because their opinion is unfavorable to the subject of those documents, what precedent does that set? This is where constitutional scholars began chiming in. Professor Jamal Ruiz of Stanford Law School commented on MSNBC This is a classic example of civil litigation being used to indirectly suppress free speech. These creators may not be parties in the case, but they are being treated like defendants in a reputational war. What made the situation even more heated was the way Blake Lively's team defended the subpoenas. In a court memo filed in California civil court, Blake's lawyer argued that some creators may have facilitated reputational harm through coordinated publishing patterns and digital monetization schemes. That phrase, monetization schemes, caused another online firestorm. Was the implication that creators profiting from commentary are now legally liable if the subject dislikes the outcome? Legal analyst and former prosecutor Dina Sharma called the argument dangerous and ill-defined. On her podcast, she explained saying someone made a video about you for profit is not grounds for subpoena. That's called the internet. If that's actionable, then celebrity gossip is dead, and so is legal commentary. But this wasn't just about the creators. Google's silence became deafening. Multiple creators reached out to the company for clarification. Some even hired lawyers to send motions demanding Google delay compliance. But as of now, Google hasn't formally confirmed or denied what data they're turning over. Behind the scenes, however, leaks began emerging. According to a former Google trust and safety contractor speaking anonymously to @Cyberbunker News, the Blake Lively subpoenas were marked urgent and flagged internally as sensitive identity risk cases. That classification typically means that Google anticipates potential media fallout or safety concerns for the person targeted in the subpoena, not the requester. This raised ethical alarms. If creators aren't being accused of crimes, why is their full IP history being requested? Asked one viewer on a Legalbyte stream. Another wrote Blake's team is trying to dox people without saying the word dox. Meanwhile, public support for the creators surged. Viewers began leaving mass comments under videos tagged #subpoenaed by Blake, urging platforms like YouTube and X to protect user data. A Change.org petition titled "Stop Blake Lively's Legal Team from Weaponizing Google" crossed 100,000 signatures in 3 days. Even non-legal creators got involved. Influencer at PopSNARKTV with over 1 million followers on TikTok posted a satirical breakdown of the subpoenas using Ken and Barbie dolls. In a comical but pointed skit, Barbie, representing a content creator, says, "I read a court filing," while Ken, Blake's lawyer, responds, "That's defamation now." It was funny, but the message was crystal clear. Still, Blake's side wasn't backing down. In an interview with an entertainment outlet, a source close to Blake's legal team was quoted saying, "These creators want the benefit of monetization without the accountability of misinformation." The quote set off another viral backlash. One creator replied, "If that's your PR angle, you're in trouble. This isn't accountability. This is surveillance." Then came the next shock. Apple was also subpoenaed. That's right, Apple. Multiple creators reported receiving notice that their cloud accounts were included in a related subpoena for device-level metadata. While it's unclear whether Blake's legal team pursued this directly, court watchers say it may be part of a broader effort to triangulate the source of certain anonymous leaks related to her earlier public appearances, social interactions, or controversial DM screenshots. The implication that creators might not just be commentators, they could be recipients of leaks. Blake's team suspects came from her own social or professional circles. But again, no hard evidence has been presented tying any creator to such a leak. As it stands, the subpoenas appear to be fishing expeditions seeking digital paper trails in hopes of discovering patterns, allies, or connections. And creators unwilling to be collateral damage are fighting harder than ever to block it. Several legal aid funds have now been launched by advocacy groups to help creators file motions to quash or limit the subpoenas. EFF released a public statement condemning the tactic, calling it a chilling example of legal escalation used to bully those exercising constitutionally protected speech. So where does that leave us? Blake Lively may have hoped these subpoenas would bring clarity, silence detractors, or expose coordinated smear campaigns. But what's happening instead is a digital rebellion. Creators are organizing, viewers are rallying, and every new development turns the spotlight back on the one person at the center of it all, Blake herself. In a final twist, some creators say they've begun subpoenaing Blake's team back through counterfilings. Several creators, including at Hostile Narrative, have hinted that if Blake's legal team wants to investigate creators for conspiracy, then they're entitled to investigate her team's contact with journalists, PR agents, and crisis firms. This is not going to be a one-way street, said at Legal Spill. If they open the door, we're walking through it. Because if the truth is what matters, then let's see it all. As the creator community braced itself and filed legal responses, the pressure began to mount not just on Blake Lively's legal team but on the very tech giants whose platforms now sat in the legal crosshairs. Google, Apple, Meta, and even YouTube found themselves uncomfortably stuck between two powerful forces: the rights of individual users and the demands of an aggressive legal campaign waged by a Hollywood powerhouse. At first, the tech companies said nothing, but silence only fueled more speculation. Creators demanded answers. Advocacy groups sent open letters, and by the end of the week, small cracks started forming. In a rare public fact update, Google's Legal Transparency Division posted a quiet but telling line under its California subpoena section, which noted recent civil proceedings involving high-profile individuals have prompted legal requests for user metadata and access logs. We evaluate each request in accordance with privacy protections and First Amendment concerns. Though no names were listed, the timing lined up exactly with the subpoenas associated with Blake Lively's case. This language suggested that Google was attempting to walk a legal tightrope, complying with the court's requests, while also avoiding full compliance that would risk user trust. It wasn't much, but for creators it was a signal. Google knew how controversial this was. Meanwhile, YouTube itself began fielding pressure. Multiple creators reported seeing their videos discussing the subpoenas either demonetized or labeled as sensitive content, even when no rules were broken. In one particularly ironic twist, a creator known for deep dive legal education videos at Civilca Central had a live stream taken down while explaining how to legally respond to a Google subpoena. Viewers were outraged. "So let me get this straight," wrote one commenter. "Creators are being subpoenaed over talking about public cases, and now they can't even talk about being subpoenaed." The controversy soon escalated beyond creator spaces. Mainstream media outlets, which had largely avoided direct commentary on the subpoenas, began reporting on them, especially after an anonymous whistleblower from Google leaked internal policy notes about metadata prioritization tags connected to the Lively case. The leak, obtained by independent tech journalist Rhea Porter and published on her Substack, Code Leak, detailed how Google had quietly created an internal review task force for high-profile legal cases that involved potential First Amendment fallout. According to the documents, Blake Lively's team had submitted at least 14 separate user account identifiers across Google platforms. The metadata requests ranged from basic login IP logs to YouTube search and upload histories, but it was one specific request that caused the most concern. The subpoena allegedly asked for Google Drive access logs, suggesting that Blake's legal team believed certain documents might have been leaked, shared, or even stored within private cloud folders. And discussed by creators, this hit hard. Drive is often where creators write scripts, outline legal breakdowns, or archive their research. The idea that such private work could be reviewed by opposing legal teams sparked widespread alarm. This is the moment we knew it wasn't just about public commentary anymore, it was about what we create. Before we even hit record, said at trial by the creator, who live-streamed her reaction to the Google Drive request. The chilling effect was immediate. Some creators paused uploads, others scrubbed old posts. A few disabled comments, fearful of contributing to a paper trail that might later be used against them in court. But not everyone backed down. One anonymous insider from Meta, Facebook and Instagram's parent company, leaked that similar subpoenas had been filed with their legal division, but that Meta had pushed back harder than Google. According to the leak, Meta requested more time to notify users and is currently evaluating the necessity and legality of the requests. While the leak remains unconfirmed by the company, creators with large Instagram followings reported seeing legal notice warnings in their creator dashboards, confirming that data may have been requested under court order. At this point, the issue could no longer be ignored. CNN's media team picked up the story, followed by coverage in Variety, TechCrunch, and Rolling Stone. Each outlet approached the subject differently, but all converged on a central theme: our celebrities abusing legal tools to silence or monitor critics online. That question began to resonate beyond the entertainment world. Legal ethics professors began weighing in on social media, and civil liberties advocates joined creator live streams to issue stark warnings. One expert, Professor Tasha Rennick, put it bluntly: this isn't a lawsuit anymore. This is a digital power grab disguised as due process. And then came the courtroom leak. According to reporters inside the Los Angeles courtroom where Blake Lively's civil team had filed the original subpoena motions, a sealed hearing took place to determine whether the metadata collected from Google would be admissible in the broader case against Justin Baldoni. But here's the twist: Justin Baldoni's lawyers allegedly pushed back hard, not only against the admissibility of the data but the subpoenas themselves. According to a leaked draft from the sealed court record, Baldoni's legal team accused Blake's attorneys of weaponizing discovery to create a parallel investigation. targeting unrelated commentators, influencers, and media figures under the pretense of fact-finding. This bombshell leak blew the doors wide open. It suggested that even within the legal proceedings there was growing discomfort with how the subpoenas were being used, and not just from the public or creators but from Baldoni's legal team itself, who now argue that Blake's team was trying to reroute the entire narrative. And if that wasn't enough, another twist emerged. Court documents filed under seal but later referenced in a public minute order hinted that some of the content Blake Lively's team wanted removed or investigated had already been cited in public court filings, press releases, or Blake's own past interviews. That means some of what creators were discussing wasn't leaked at all, it was publicly available, and now being retroactively framed as harmful. The backlash continued to build. On X, threads began compiling side-by-side comparisons of creators' commentary and public source material. In most cases, it showed that what was being discussed was already out in the open. They're trying to criminalize commentary. One legal thread read, "This is about power, not privacy." Back in Hollywood, the media tide began to shift. Coverage that had once been cautious or neutral suddenly adopted sharper tones. A Rolling Stone op-ed titled "Blake Lively's Legal Subpoena Spree May Be Her Biggest PR Mistake" yet went viral. The author argued that Blake's team may have underestimated how resilient and connected online creators truly are. And now creators were speaking to each other, lawyers were collaborating across state lines, and a kind of digital union had formed, built not on contracts or exclusivity but on shared fear and defiance. In one of the most moving moments of the saga so far, a live stream hosted by a Defend Digital aired for over 6 hours, as creators shared their experiences, legal fears, and hopes for transparency. Viewers donated over $50,000 to a legal aid fund in a single day. The hosts ended the stream with a stark message: this isn't just about Blake anymore. This is about the future of commentary. If we lose this, they'll come for all of US next. As the subpoena saga grew darker and more complex, a new side of the story began emerging, one that peeled back the curtain on the psychological toll this was taking on content creators across the board. For weeks, many had felt like they were being watched, traced, or digitally cornered without ever stepping foot in a courtroom. Now some were reaching their breaking point. Creators like at Courtroom Chris's, who typically upload near-daily legal commentary, suddenly stopped posting. Others disabled comments, erased old live streams, or posted cryptic messages about needing a break for safety reasons. One creator, known simply as @Thenerator, made a rare on-camera appearance, visibly shaken as she admitted to deleting years' worth of research documents from her Google Drive. "I've never been more afraid to speak," she said, pausing repeatedly to hold back tears. "They want to make us feel like criminals for using public information. I've done nothing wrong, and yet I don't feel safe." And she wasn't alone. In Dima's live streams and even private Patreon forums, creators began detailing how the stress of unexpected subpoenas, mounting legal costs, and platform suppression had pushed them into burnout, panic attacks, and even paranoia. Some reported receiving hate messages accusing them of lying or clout chasing, while others began suspecting their social accounts were being shadow banned. But then something unexpected happened. Leaks from inside Blake Lively's own PR team started surfacing. Two anonymous publicists reportedly spoke to an investigative newsletter called The Reputation Rundown, providing insight into the strategy behind Blake's sudden legal aggression. One PR insider allegedly said there was panic after that deposition leak. Her team wanted to find out who had access, who was talking to creators who might have flipped. Another added the subpoenas weren't just about finding a leak, they were about sending a message. These leaks painted a very different picture than what Blake Lively's team had been telling the press. Publicly, it was about reputational repair, civil damages, and false narratives. But privately, according to these sources, it was a targeted PR defense disguised as legal action. And its objective was to frighten online critics into silence. And now the plan was unraveling, with tech companies reluctant to fully comply, media coverage turning sour, and creators organizing faster than expected. Sources said Blake's team had started panicking again. According to leaked texts between her PR reps and legal assistants, there were concerns that the subpoenas had become the story, stealing attention from her actual claims against Baldoni. Even more revealing was the involvement of third-party crisis firms. Documents leaked on X by a whistleblower account known as @BurntTheBrief suggest that Blake's team was consulting with at least 2 private digital monitoring agencies, known for narrative management firms often hired to track influencer chatter, TikTok trends, and YouTube comments in real time. One of these firms reportedly issued weekly reports to her legal team, titled Creator Risk Index, ranking creators based on their impact, reach, and tone. Names like at Hostile Narrative at Legolands, at DOCU Drama TV, and at Trial Bite appeared repeatedly in these reports according to screenshots shared with at Digital Expos. The chilling implication: creators weren't just accidentally caught in the crossfire. They were being systematically monitored, ranked, and potentially targeted not by some shadowy government entity but by a Hollywood actress's private team. And yet, even in the face of mounting pressure, creators kept speaking out. A few even gained new followers, support, and media interviews as a result. But others began asking a deeper question: where were Blake's friends now? Enter Taylor Swift. The once close friendship between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift had already taken hits during the earlier phases of the legal saga, especially after rumors emerged that Taylor had refused to write a public statement in Blake's defense. Now insiders say the silence had deepened into distance. According to one Hollywood columnist from the Ankler, Taylor's team had made it very clear that she would not be issuing support for Blake's handling of the subpoena situation. Another insider told Page Six that Taylor was disturbed by the scope of Blake's legal strategy, particularly the digital subpoenas aimed at creators. While Taylor has not spoken publicly about the case, her absence has been felt, and it hasn't gone unnoticed by fans. On social media, users began comparing Taylor's approach to creator culture: collaborative, open, community-first, with Blake's increasingly aggressive legal posture. One viral tweet read: Taylor writes thank you notes to fan artists. Blake subpoenas meme pages. Who's really protecting their legacy? Other celebrities began distancing themselves too. One actress who had previously starred with Blake in a fashion campaign reportedly asked her team to pause future collaborations. Another popular producer was quoted anonymously saying, "There's a difference between defending your reputation and becoming a surveillance machine. This isn't it." What's fascinating is how quickly Blake Lively, once beloved as a witty, self-aware media darling, has now become a symbol of Hollywood tone deafness in the digital age. Just months ago, she was posting charming behind-the-scenes photos, engaging with fans in comments, and trading lighthearted jabs with Ryan Reynolds.